Welcome to Bandit's Keep. I'm Daniel. This week I want to talk about what I'm going to call character-driven adventures. We often hear about location-based adventures and event-based adventures, but I find the most satisfying adventures to run, at my table anyways, are character-driven. So to kind of give you an idea of where this is coming from, I've been watching a lot of old movies lately. I go through different periods where I watch action movies or horror movies or older movies or whatever, and this is how you get your inspiration for running. But lately I've been watching some older movies, some of them Westerns. And one of the things that's interesting, putting aside any issues with Westerns, is that they're generally based on the idea of a couple or sometimes one character who has entered into a situation where they form some kind of a relationship or already have some kind of relationship, and the entire plot is pushed forward by that. The world's not going to end. They're not trying to stop a comet fall from the sky. Usually it's a very small thing that even if they didn't succeed in this particular thing they're trying to do during the course of this adventure, if you will, 5 towns over, nobody's going to know what happened. These kind of adventures are much more personal. And I find that, again, some of them are Westerns, but I've been watching a lot of just older movies, and I see that those ones that the characters are very strong, characters that I start thinking to myself, well, yeah, I kind of care about this person, or what's going to happen to them. They give enough about them. They're relatable. They're not so over the top that you just are like, huh? And I think that's missing from a lot of movies, not just new movies. I'm not, but old movies have it too. But a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows, the characters are just bland and they're superficial. You get this especially in action movies where the characters are just muscly and machine guns, and that's fun sometimes, and that's fun in games, right? Sometimes we just want to do combats. But I've found that having a character or having characters that are interesting, so interesting that your players become connected to those characters, and then creating situations where those characters are, in danger or need help or are missing, those kind of adventures can be some of the most satisfying. So I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit here, but I want to start off by saying, and I kind of already mentioned it, but I'm going to say it again, these types of adventures need to be small scale. It can't be save the kingdom. It can't be stop this volcano that's going to destroy the whole city. It really needs to feel personal. That's going to make this different than an event-based adventure or a location-based, right? Because an event-based, actually, let me roll back a little bit because maybe you're saying, what does that even mean? Let's get some definitions. Because this video is not about this and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, let me know in the comments below if you want more details, but I'm just going to simplify, elevator pitch, if you will, both. Location-based adventures are ones where there is a location that the party goes to and they explore. Let's say an ancient ruin where there might be some treasure, you got zombies, you got a beholder, you're walking around, you're finding traps, you're looking for stuff, you're getting the treasure or whatever you're doing there, and you're getting out. You go to the location is the adventure. Event-based adventures are when something's happening. You start off and if there's a festival happening and then you have these plot points that are going to happen. In 3 days, this is going to happen. Or what I mentioned before, the volcano going off, right? Something is going to happen. This event is what's triggering and pushing forward the adventure. So location-based are generally players. And again, this is a very, I'm sure I'll get some comments. This is very surface level, are generally the kind of thing you find in, let's say, like a sandbox, right? Where it's like, you hear a rumor about a dungeon that you want to go loot, right? Event-based, you find often happen a lot more in linear style campaigns and linear style because they are linear style by their nature. So this is going on and we're going through these events and the player characters are involving themselves in making changes and stopping things or making things happen. Obviously none of this is a quote railroad. It's just the way that it operates. Character-based is closer to location-based, I would say, just in the nature that it's very player-driven. What's important here is that the players get personally involved. And I'm using the word players here, not PCs, because, and I've talked about this a little bit before, I think that the real trick to this is to know your players, right? Players will play characters that have similar feelings. I mean, sometimes they'll play something totally different, but we basically play ourselves. I mean, on some level, some idealized version, or maybe non-idealized, who knows, of ourselves, right? We don't generally for long-term campaigns play a character that is so different than we are, because that would just be too hard to do, right? If we are, believe in helping the innocent, we're not going to play a character that's just constantly beating on, orphans, right? That just probably wouldn't be something that we're doing. Go ahead, post in the comments and tell me how you do that. But most people, in my experience, play characters that have similar vibe to them. So if you know your players well, you can start creating characters that will connect to those players. You're friends with these players, right? What are their friends like? What do you like? Making characters that they can see as friends makes this a lot easier and better. You can obviously do it as a one-shot and say, you come into town and this is your brother's widow and now she needs your help. Okay, fine. That's surface level. Anybody who wants to be a role player can play that. Obviously, I've played in adventures like that. But again, this is something that I think works better in the campaign. You want to remember all those stories we hear, right, where the party goes in and they meet that one goblin henchman and they focus in on him, even though that wasn't the one you cared about as a DM. Those are the people. We want the ones that the player characters interact with, the players enjoy interacting with. We want to build those characters up, make them real on some level in the world, so that when something happens, when they need the help of the player characters, it's not just, okay, I'm an adventurer, I'll check a box and go do it. It's, wow, really? Like they're messing with that person that we really like, that person that helped us, that person that was fun to interact with. That's what we want. We want to create characters in our worlds that the player characters enjoy and the players enjoy interacting with, in a way that they will go out of their way to help this person if something goes wrong. The character-based adventure now is to create a situation where something has gone wrong. And it's important here, just like any other adventure, to not have a solution. It's not, this person's been arrested and you must prove they're innocent. Although that could be it, but not a very distinct way. Like, how do you prove it? It could do any number of ways. Or maybe that's not the way. Maybe you break them out of jail. Maybe you prove they're innocent. Maybe, who knows, whatever your players come up with. We want to keep this open-ended. What we want to do is take a situation and say, this is somebody who the player characters have been involved with, who they like, and let them know that that person is in trouble. Maybe the person comes to them for help. Maybe they go to that person for help and they're not there. Maybe they hear a rumor. Maybe they find the person as part of, they get attacked by bandits and they fend them off and they go back to the bandit camp and they see the bandits have captured people. And one of the people is this character that they're connected to. And this person now says, yes, they've been doing this, this, and this. Can you help? Right? And now you've got this character-driven thing. The characters are what matter, not the event, not the location. Characters, players care about. Now, of course, the characters can be player characters. If you're playing the kind of campaign where player characters build good backstories and good deep backstories, you can use a player's backstory player character's backstory, I should say, to send something at them that the rest of the players are going to want to help their friend, obviously. So again, they're like that character. They're doing it for that character, not to save the world, not for gold. They're doing it to help or save a friend or somebody that they like. So this is very open-ended, just like saying a location-based or an event-based. So I'm going to kind of give a couple of little points here. And then again, a lot of it comes down to prep. So number one, going back to what I said at the beginning, we need to make the players care. So we have to always be thinking, when we go into situations, watch what your players/player characters do. Who do they connect to? Who are you seeing regularly that your players will go to and seek out to converse with? The children, the animals, maybe they want to help out the nature or whatever, the farmers, the shopkeepers. Who are they connecting to? Who are you watching your players connect with? And this is one reason why it's nice to do sessions where you just kind of let that happen. Now, I know that some people don't like the idea of shopping sessions, and I don't particularly love that either, but if you're going to be in a town, let it play out. If they go to a farmhouse, let it play out. Let them talk to the NPCs. Spend some time. See what they connect to. I have a handful of things in my pocket that I know that if I throw into my game, that I know which players will respond to this, no matter what character they're playing, because I know the players always play characters that will do certain things. So I know that I can create characters that they're going to gravitate towards. They're going to like this character. They're going to want to protect this character. They're going to want to befriend this character. And then we have something happen. And again, that something doesn't have to necessarily be they've been captured. That's the obvious, right? But the other is they owe money, or something else is going on. Something weird's happening in the village. The crops are weird. Somebody, there's a war going on and the whole village is going to have to move, and that's going to, upturn their entire lives. Maybe it becomes something where the player characters have to come in there and do something more epic, but we don't want this to be world ending, because just like anything else in your game, you really want it to be the player's choice. If you think that your player will always defend the orphans, and you set up a thing where if the orphans aren't saved, then the volcano's going to go off, the whole kingdom's going to be destroyed, and then you find out you're wrong and they don't want to do that, they'd rather go get the gold, now you've set yourself up for a world-ending situation. So again, keep this thing tight. I think that's general advice that I have anyways on sandbox campaigns, but keep it small, keep it local, keep it characters that they like. Watch what your players do, learn which characters they connect to, make notes, and roll with it. Improvisation is key in this kind of situation because you don't know what anybody's going to do. You have your characters, your player characters it would be, you've got your NPCs, you have their personalities, you've got a little bit of information about them, and the rest of it is going to be playing off the players and the world and logically figuring out what would happen based on everybody's actions. In the end, again, this creates stories that the players remember. In my current campaign, there are several NPCs that the characters have gone out of their way multiple times to save, risk their own lives to save multiple times because they wanted to. It was never, if you don't rescue this person, they have that one ring that destroys the world. It was just some person that they had brought into their service or they had helped them before. They find out that person's in danger and they go. Why do they go? Because that character is important to them as far as the game and the story is concerned. Make NPCs that the player characters, and that the players want to interact with. Make the world feel real to them. Let them know that when things happen, they will affect these people. And these people aren't 10th level paladins. They're just regular people, and they need heroes to help them. So I would love to hear your stories about various characters that you've either interacted with as a player or as a GM that your players have loved or hated. Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, do all the YouTubey stuff. Also, check the description below. You're going to find a link to my Discord server, lots of great people over there, and my Patreon if you want to support the channel. I'll talk to you soon.